Discover the incredible truth. What life was like on Earth 3 billion years ago revealed. Danny Jennings had always believed in the American dream. At 38, he wore his military service like a badge of honor, proud of the sacrifices he made. But back in that small, crumbling mining town, dreams felt brittle. The factory that was once the lifeblood of the community had shut down, leaving him and his 2 kids, Emily and Josh, scrambling for answers. In the front yard, a fading swing creaked in the wind, a haunting reminder of better days. As Danny sat on the porch one warm evening, he watched his children playing, their laughter mixing with the evening breeze. Emily, with her untamed curls and endless curiosity, was working on a school project about local geology. She fantasized about discovering hidden treasures. But one afternoon, when her shovel hit something hard in the backyard, everything changed. She ran to Danny, her eyes wide with excitement. "Dad, I found something." He closed the laptop he'd been working on, the weight of economic worries lifting for just a moment. Together, they uncovered what looked like an ancient rock formation. "This is cool." "Huh?" Danny smiled, but his heart raced. Over the next few weeks, they studied rocks, fossils, and everything in between. Each night before bed, they gather around the kitchen table, crammed with books, sketches, and countless notes. Laughter replaced worry. They envisioned life on Earth over 3 billion years ago, crafting fantastical stories about creatures of the past, fueled by the determination to unearth a brighter future. It wasn't just geology, it was hope, bonding, and resilience taking shape. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as their little family flourished, a shadow loomed over their tight-knit community. A wealthy developer, with dollars to burn and dreams of constructing a luxury resort, set his sights on their neighborhood. The local news sparked fury, and the heartache of the townsfolk seeped through the cracks of their homes. Danny felt a knot tighten in his chest as he witnessed the worries that plagued his neighbors, people he had grown up with, who had known joy and heartache together. He couldn't just stand by. They had all shared countless barbecues on frayed chairs, discussing the future. Now, with their homes at risk, he knew he had to act. Danny organized a rally, calling families together, igniting spirits that had thoughts stuck in the past. As chants filled the streets, he stood taller, radiating a strength from the buried history he had unearthed for his children. When he looked into the determined faces of his neighbors, shared fears ignited a fire within him. He had to protect both their homes and the dreams his children were cultivating. The stakes were high. The looming showdown with the developer promised to test their unity and resolve. But could he really ignite change, or would he fade into the shadows, just another quiet voice lost in the wind? Standing there, he took a deep breath, poised for the battle ahead. With a heart full of doubts yet determined for his family, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink as Danny felt anticipation mixed with fear settling in his stomach. The rally was just a day away, and thoughts of what could happen weighed heavily on his mind. He paced the porch, the creak of the wooden boards underfoot mimicking the fingers of doubt that clawed at his resolve. Emily and Josh played in the background, their innocent laughter ringing like a soothing balm against the worries coiling in his chest. He turned and caught a glimpse of Emily, her hair dancing in the evening breeze as she waved a makeshift flag, rallying her little brother to join her kingdom of adventure. She had turned their digging project into a game of treasure hunts, oblivious to the impending storm looming over their town. "Dad, look," she shouted, pointing at the swing set. Josh found a tiger rock. Danny chuckled softly and felt a fleeting moment of pride. But the weight of the developer's plans was still heavy on his heart. He couldn't let their little victories mask the larger fight ahead. He imagined the luxury condos rising where their laughter echoed, the park where they built memories replaced by concrete walls. As he stared into the distance, he thought about the meeting that would come right after the rally. Resistance could only hold if the town unites. The night wore on, and Danny finally called his children inside. After a simple dinner, he pulled out some of their geology books, flipping through the pages with them. Did you know that rocks can tell stories about how the earth used to be? He shared moments of wonder with them, hoping to instill strength for what lay ahead. They giggled over ancient beast illustrations, unaware of the metaphorical beasts Danny would be battling the next day. As he tucked them into bed, his mind raced with strategies. Their home, their memories, everything they had built could be swept away. He knew he had to equip himself for the fight. After whispering sweet dreams, he stepped outside into the cool night air. Stars twinkled above like scattered diamonds, offering some hope. He found the courage to remind himself of his military training. He had faced challenges before. This wasn't a battle against bullets or distant lands, but it was just as important. His community needed him, his children needed him. The fight wouldn't just be for the land. It would be for a future, for their legacy. He tightened his fists, focused his gaze, and whispered a silent promise. The morning dawned bright and lively, with clouds scudding in the vast blue above. He arrived at the rally site, hearts filled with nervous energy all around him. Familiar faces came out, their resolve visible. It was now or never. Standing atop a makeshift platform, he felt the weight of everyone's eyes on him, waiting for words that could spark a fire. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, a low rumble echoed through the crowd. Danny turned his head, chilling, realizing that a convoy of trucks, emblazoned with the developer's name, pulled dangerously close. Anxiety twisted in his gut. Would they intimidate everyone before he even began? The fresh wave of tension rolled through the crowd like thunder. He steadied himself, ready to face whatever would come next. The moment of truth had arrived, but would he summon the words to rally his community, or would the doubters find a way to shatter their fragile unity? As the engines growled and the crowd shifted uneasily, Danny prepared for an unexpected turn, one that could determine their fate and rewrite the story of his town forever. The ground shook slightly beneath the rumbling trucks, and Danny's heart raced. It felt like the thumping of a war drum. He scanned the faces in the crowd, searching for signs of fear, doubt, or anger, anything that could shift the fragile tide of unity. The moment was more than a fight against concrete. It was about the spirit of community and everything that connected them to this place. Before he could take a deep breath to gather his thoughts, the first truck rolled to a stop, dust swirling up like smoke. The driver's door swung open, revealing a sharp-suited man with a briefcase, his smirk glistening under the sun. The developer was here, and he came prepared to play hardball. "Ladies and gentlemen," the man called out, his voice dripping with condescension. "You can't stop progress. This is what your town needs. Jobs, growth, and let's face it, who wouldn't want a luxury condominium with a view just steps away?" He flipped through a glossy brochure, showcasing artistic renderings of what the area could become. Murmurs swept through the crowd. Not everyone seemed convinced, but a few faces flickered with uncertainty. Danny could see the seeds of doubt creeping in, and he fought against the rising tide in his chest. He couldn't let this moment slip away. "Hey!" he shouted, silencing the whispers. All eyes turned toward him, some uncertain, others eager for hope. "Do we want a future built on concrete shadows?" He pointed towards the skyline where the sun painted a picture of their beloved town. "Or do we want to preserve our community, our homes, our way of life?" His words hung in the air, mingling with electricity. He took a tentative step towards the truck, challenging the power dynamics in the clearing. The developer's confident smile faltered just a moment, and that spoke volumes. "You might think you're bringing progress," Danny continued, letting his voice rise, "but this is our home, and you're not welcome to tear it down." A ripple of agreement coursed through the onlookers, and Danny's chest swelled with tentative hope. Had he struck a chord? Emily's laughter echoed in his mind, each haunting giggle fueling his passion. He couldn't back down now. He stepped forward, gaining momentum with every word. You may have the plans and the trucks, he said, voices rising from the crowd as they cheered him on. But we have something stronger: community. Our memories here are worth more than any profit margin. Just as his confidence surged, he took a glance back at the crowd. Emily's small frame stood out among the adults, her bright eyes wide with wonder and admiration. It was the image he needed to remind him of the fight. This was for them, for every child playing in the park, for every neighbor shaking hands. "Join me," he called, his throat tight but resolute. "Let us stand together, for the spirit of hometown over the glare of profit." Cheers erupted around him. The sea of faces before him transformed, sturdy and united. The ground he stood on could change from the rumbling trucks to voices uplifted in solidarity. But then, just as victory seemed within grasp, Danny locked eyes with the developer. He was witnessing more than a businessman. There was something deeper lurking in that gaze, something menacing. What did he know that Danny didn't? The tension twisted again, and Danny felt the air grow thick with unspoken words. Could the rally turn into something unexpected? Would the developer pull a card that might spin everything around? As the crowd rallied, a new wave of determination surged through him, but the looming threat remained. The battle was just beginning, and somewhere in the air, the fate of the town danced like a flicker of light waiting to be captured or snuffed out. What other secrets were hidden amidst the chaos? And would everyone stand united when the truth about their community was finally revealed? "Let us keep this simple," the developer suddenly interjected, stepping off the truck and raising his voice over the crowd. "You think you know what's best for this town, but you're living in a nostalgic dream. You don't want progress? Fine, but the rest of us do. You can either get on board or get out of the way." Danny felt the crowd wobble, a few heads nodded in confusion or resentment. The developer continued, waving the brochure like a flag. "We're bringing in investment, jobs, opportunities. You want your children to stay here? They need a reason." The tension in the air was electric, crackling with divided loyalties. He could feel it in his bones. Some folks really were swayed by the allure of new beginnings, the promise of stability in a world that sometimes felt too unpredictable. "Look," Danny shouted, desperation tinging his voice. "Jobs? Sure. But at what cost? You think a luxury condo is going to save our youth? What about the community college down the street? What about small businesses that have been here for generations? That's what truly keeps our town alive." The crowd responded, a mix of cheers and murmurs, and Danny fought to maintain the momentum. The developer, smirking all the while, seemed unfazed. There was a coldness in his eyes, a confidence that sent a shiver down Danny's spine. What dark cards might this man hold? Community isn't just a word. It's a lifeline. He pressed on. It's the little moments: a kid on a bike, friends laughing on a porch, family cookouts in the park. Do you want those moments to be replaced with fancy cars and gated fences? Suddenly, Emily's voice drifted up, soft and delicate. "But Daddy, what if the condos are not what they say?" It was innocent, yet her question dripped with wisdom beyond her years. The crowd turned towards her, surprise written across their faces. Danny looked down at her small figure. "That's right, Em. We need to question everything. What if there's more to this story? What if this so-called progress is just a way to profit off us?" The developer scoffed, bristling at the interruption. Children should be seen, not heard. That remark hit Danny like a punch in the gut. "And that attitude is exactly what makes us stand against you," he shouted back, rallying the crowd behind him again. A fierce determination surged through him. The excitement built as one by one, neighbors began to speak up. Manny from the bakery, Anna who ran the local library, even Mr. Smith, the old veteran who hardly ever raised his voice, all chimed in to remind everyone what their shared home really stood for. Each voice was a thread weaving them closer together. But just as they began to hit a stride, a series of loud honks cut through the air. Danny's heart dropped. More trucks were approaching, this time packed with workers, the developer's hired hands, most likely. The reassuring tide of unity faltered. Fists clenched in worry. A sense of something darker loomed, threatening to drown their defiance. The crowd was a mix of alarm and determination, but the wind shifted. The reality of the situation was looming over them, and doubt seeped back into the unity they had built. What now? He thought, feeling the weight of every decision, every word. He straightened up, steeling himself against the encroaching dread. Where would this lead them? Would they finally uncover the truth that could shift the balance of power? Or would fear and intimidation shatter their bond? As the trucks rolled closer, one thing was clear. The moment of truth was upon them, and Danny could feel the flicker of hope. That burning flame of a community, ready to fight against all odds, was all that stood between them and a future that felt increasingly uncertain. Would courage be enough to withstand the storm about to break? The trucks rolled to a halt, dust swirling around them as their engines rumbled down to silence. Danny's heart raced. The air was thick with uncertainty, a palpable fear threading through the crowd. He looked into the faces of his neighbors, people he'd shared countless memories with, who kept the heart of the town alive. This was more than a meeting. It was a battle for their home. "Danny, what do we do?" came a voice from the crowd. It was Trina, a single mother holding her baby close to her chest. Her eyes were wide, brimming with concern. "We stand our ground," Danny replied, his voice louder than he felt inside. "We've fought for this place long before any developer stepped onto our soil." The crowd echoed with shouts of agreement, though the weight of apprehension lingered. The developer stepped forward, flanked by his workers. They towered over the townsfolk, clad in hard hats and steel-toed boots, a stark contrast to the familiar faces of home. He smiled, a blend of arrogance and amusement, as if he saw them as nothing more than an amusing speed bump on his road to success. "Listen here," the developer called out, his voice dripping with condescension. "You can keep your quaint little memories of the good old days, but this isn't about nostalgia. This is about your future. You can't cling to the past forever." The crowd wavered, murmurs of doubt swirling among them. Danny felt a cold knot tighten in his gut as he noticed the hesitance creeping into people's expressions. Could they be convinced? Just as those thoughts began to spiral, he caught Emily's small hand tugging at his shirt. "Daddy, can we really trust them?" she whispered, her voice barely carrying over the low buzz of anxiety. He knelt down, meeting her gaze. "Trust is earned, not given, sweetheart. Not a single one of us has to accept anything without questioning it first." With renewed vigor, Danny stood again and faced the crowd. "Look, this is our home. We've built it together. We're more than just a name on a balance sheet. We can help each other, support our neighbors, protect our history. The only future we need to invest in is one that sees all of us thriving, not just a select few." Inspired nods appeared in the crowd. A wave of reassurance washed over him, intertwining with the growing tension. He felt their shared spirit, and then, without thinking, he yelled, "Who's with me?" The response was immediate, voices rising in unison. "We are. We will not back down." But the developer wasn't through yet. He waved a hand toward his workers, smirking. "Is that right? But it's not just progress I'm bringing. It's a complete transformation of your home. We can bulldoze all of this," he gestured around, "and build a vibrant, modern community." Danny's blood boiled. "Vibrant? Is that what you call squeezing out the heart of this town? Migrating our voices to make way for concrete jungles?" He felt a flicker of anger turn into a blaze. The truck's doors opened, and out stepped men in matching uniforms, ready to confront them. Each boot stomped on the earth loudly, thudding against the hopes of the crowd. Conversations turned to hushed whispers. Suddenly, from the back, an elderly voice piped up, shaking but strong. It was Mrs. Henderson, the town's historian. "You think you can erase our history?" she called out. "Those streets you want to build over, they were once filled with laughter, love, and memories. The past cannot be bulldozed." Her words radiated through the gathering. Danny felt the spark ignite. Would they dare threaten a bond so rich? As he faced the developer once more, a glimmer of resolve shone through the weight pressing on his chest. The next moments felt crucial. Would they stay united? Would they preserve their identity or allow it to dissolve? Just then, Emily spoke again, louder now. Daddy, can we show them who we really are? Danny looked down at her, a warm smile breaking through his worry. Yes, Em. It's time to show them. Gritting his teeth, he called out to the crowd. Let us show them what it means to be one. For our town. For our voices. But just as the community began to rally, a loud crack echoed as a brick was hurled toward the developer's crew. Fear swept through his heart. Was this going to escalate? What would happen next? The brick soared through the air, a glimmer of defiance wrapped in desperation. Danny's heart stopped, bracing for the impact, but it landed harmlessly on the ground, sending up a small cloud of dust. The crowd gasped, a mixture of shock and adrenaline coursing through them. Who threw that? The developer shouted, anger flaring across his face. The workers shifted, hands tightening on their tools as they readied for confrontation. Tension coiled tighter, spiraling into silence. A stillness thick enough to cut. Stay calm, Danny urged, raising his hands to calm the crowd, feeling the weight of every eye on him. We can't let fear do the talking. A young man stepped forward, his hands shaking visibly. What if they push us? What if it turns into violence? The murmur rose again, anxiety spilling like a tide, threatening to sweep away their resolve. We won't be pushed around. Danny's voice rang out, confident but trembling inside. We are not here to throw bricks. We won't fight their aggression with anger. We'll stand firm with our voices. We'll fight with our stories. Yeah. Emily jumped up, her small voice piercing through the fear. Tell them about the playground, the stories of the town. That's what matters. Danny's heart swelled. She was right, each story was a brick of collective strength. Rising higher. Exactly, Em. We've got generations of memories here. Let them hear our voices. With newfound courage, he spearheaded the charge of words. Remember the summer block parties? The music spilling into the streets? The laughter of your children growing up here? This isn't just land, it's our heritage. One by one, recognized faces began calling out stories, memories flooding back, clinging to the unity forged through shared experience. A chorus of voices emerged, weaving past with the present. Our town has history, cried an older man, tears glistening in his eyes, remembering the first school bell ringing generations ago. Our community stood together when storms hit. We rebuilt as one. Another echoed. With each shout, the atmosphere shifted, transforming from uncertainty to something powerful, a collective heartbeat. They were no longer just a crowd. They were a community, one soul standing together. But the developer realized the tides were turning. Enough of this, he barked, pulling out his phone, screen lighting up like a weapon. You want to play games? I can play rough too. You're nothing but a bunch of sentimental fools. This town will be reshaped, whether you like it or not. Danny felt a cold grip wrap around his heart. How far would he take this? What if he really played dirty? We will fight this. He steadied his stance, grounding himself. From the corner of his eye, he spotted Mrs. Henderson, still standing resolute. Her grip around her cane tightened, a fire igniting in her gaze. You're wrong. We're not fools. We're the guardians of this town's spirit. We will show you. The crowd roared in support, voices mingling into an unstoppable flow of resistance. Behind the developer, whispers sprouted among his men, hesitation creeping in. Were they truly willing to bulldoze over lives, memories, the very essence of community? Just then, Emily stepped forward, tiny yet fierce, her voice clear as a bell. But what about our dreams? Can't we build a better future together? Why do you want to take away what we love? Her words echoing in the silence struck a chord deep within Danny. The stakes were rising, but so was something else, a flicker of hope. Could they really change the tide? Buoyed by this new energy, he turned back to the developer. We want a discussion, a real one. Let us talk about how we can grow this town together without erasing who we are. The developer's face twisted in irritation, but for the first time, a hint of uncertainty flashed in his eyes. Would he relent? Would they find common ground? Or was this just the calm before a storm they couldn't control? As the sun began to dip low, painting the sky in flames of orange and crimson, a battle brewed for more than just a piece of land. It was a battle for their soul. Would Danny and the townsfolk be able to reconcile their differences, or had they pushed the developer too far? The developer's scowl deepened as the crowd surged forward, a wall of voices and stories pressing against him. Danny could feel the energy shifting, the momentum of their unity igniting a spark of courage that had been stamped out for too long. He had started this rallying cry, but now it belonged to everyone around him. Each shout of defiance was a testament to their shared history. "Let us talk," the developer yelled, desperation tinging his voice. He looked from face to face, assessing the crowd's resolve. "You really think you can stop progress? This is business. This is the future, not at the cost of our memories." Mrs. Henderson shouted back, her voice ringing out like a bell. Behind her, people chanted, "Not at the cost of our memories." Danny's heart was racing. Could this actually lead to something? A small, stubborn part of him hoped the developer would at least consider what they were asking. "We want to grow together." He couldn't help but raise his voice even more. "This isn't about halting progress. It's about including us in the dialogue. Our town is worth building upon, not tearing down." "It's a waste of time," the developer replied, but his tone wavered slightly. Danny noticed the shift. "Nothing is a waste of time when it's for the soul of our town," a woman shouted from the back. "This isn't just land. It's where my children played and where I've spent my life. This is our home." Danny felt a ripple of warmth wash over him, a collective energy so powerful that it nearly took his breath away. He shared a glance with Emily, her small face alight with determination. "Together we can come up with a plan." She took the lead again, stepping closer to the developer. "You could listen to us, incorporate our ideas into your project. Give us a community center, a space for our kids to play, but don't take away what we love." Danny's emotions surged, pride swelling in his chest. How could a child be so brave? The developer's face twisted, annoyance battling confusion. "If I were you," Danny pressed on, "I'd consider what we're asking. This isn't just protesting. We're speaking for generations of people who poured their lives into this town." A silence fell for a moment, but the air hummed with anticipation. Danny could see the gears turning in the developer's mind, the possibility of negotiation flickering in his eyes. Just then, a voice broke through the stillness. "What if we agree to preserve our most cherished landmarks? Give us parks, community events, a place to remember what made our town special." It was the older man again, the one who'd spoken about the first school bell. The tension crackled with uncertainty. Danny noticed some of the workers shifting uncomfortably. They were tired just like everyone else. Would they stand behind their boss if he refused to listen? The developer looked over the crowd, his posture wavering. "You think this will change anything?" "I know what's best for business." "No," Danny interrupted, his heart pounding louder than ever. "You know what's best for profits. Business can thrive while respecting our roots. Don't let greed blind you from a legacy that could grow, not just for us, but for future generations too." The crowd murmured in agreement, voices rising again with the power of collective hope and renewed courage. The sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue across their faces, framing their determination in light. But then, unexpectedly, a horn blared from a car on the street nearby, shattering their moment. The crowd's focus shifted, eyes darting as a news van rolled to a stop, cameras starting to whirl. Would this draw more attention to their struggle or overshadow their message? Danny's heart sank just as quickly as it had risen. A spotlight could either amplify their voices or drown out their stories. The stakes were escalating, and in an instant, he knew this battle was just beginning. As the cameras began to focus on the scene, he took a deep breath, bracing for what would unfold next. Would the world hear their stories, or would they be reduced to mere headlines? The news van's lights flashed, illuminating the growing crowd as it swelled around Danny and the developer. The microphones extended like eager hands, craving stories, hoping to capture the spirit of a battle that felt both monumental and personal. The developer's discomfort was palpable, He adjusted his tie, visibly grappling with the shift in focus. Moments later, a reporter stepped out of the van, her notepad ready, eyes scanning the sea of impassioned faces. "What's going on here?" she shouted over the noise, stepping forward like a warrior among them. The crowd surged, a wave of voices clamoring for her attention. "We're fighting for our town," Danny shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. "We're asking for a future that honors our past. Our memories matter." The reporter nodded, her expression sharpening as she processed the power in his words. She turned to the developer, demanding, "How do you respond to the community's pleas? They want to be part of the conversation." He hesitated, shifting uncomfortably. The pressure mounted. His response felt heavy with consequence. "Progress is necessary," he finally stammered. But at what cost?" Danny interjected, his heart racing as he felt the crowd rally behind him. He gazed around, seeing fists clenched in determination, eyes bright with hope. "Let us hear it," the reporter said, her attention drawn back to the crowd, sensing the momentum building. "What are your hopes for this community?" A man from the side shouted, "We want a place where our kids can play freely, where our history isn't bulldozed. We want this to be a city that thrives while remembering." Emily piped up, her tiny voice cutting through the noise. The reporter, now intrigued, signaled for silence. "Please let us not drown out each other. This is important. How can we find common ground?" Danny could hardly believe it. A real opportunity was blooming like the spring flowers he remembered from childhood. He stepped forward, taking charge of the moment. "What if we propose a proposal?" he suggested, glancing back at Mrs. Henderson and the others behind him. "We could create a committee to work with your team. Let us figure out a way to blend what's new with what's cherished." The developer shifted again, drumming up some skepticism in his features. "You think that can work in a timely manner? We have deadlines to meet. Deadlines shouldn't stifle our hearts." Danny replied firmly. "What good is a shining skyscraper if it stands on the ashes of our homes? Let us create something beautiful that also respects what's come before." For a tense heartbeat, it felt like the world had paused, and an electric charge crackled in the air. The faces in the crowd were earnest, hopeful, desperate even. Just then, an older woman stepped forward, the soft lines of her face etched with years of love for their shared home. "I've lived here for over 50 years. I've seen generations grow up here. This is not just a part of my history. It's where I found family, community, love. Can't you see that what we're asking is not just for ourselves, but for the future?" Taken aback, the developer glanced away as if trying to avoid her truth. The reporter captured the moment, making notes on her pad. With a renewed spirit, Danny's voice rang out again. "If we work together, we could craft a legacy that speaks to everyone, old and new. Let us be part of something that stands the test of time." The developer's brow furrowed, and Danny could sense the weight of his indecision. The crowd murmured in anticipation, holding their breaths, waiting for a breakthrough moment. Then, just as the tension reached an apex, another voice emerged from within the crowd. A familiar face, someone from his childhood, speaking suddenly, "But what if we don't succeed?" The air thickened with uncertainty, and Danny felt his heart drop as he prepared to answer. A new layer of this battle unfurling before him. Had they been too hopeful? Did dreams come crumbling down at reality's feet? As Danny stood at the precipice of hope and doubt, he realized this was only the beginning of an uphill struggle. What would they decide next? And could they truly forge a path forward together? The crowd shifted uneasily, caught in a moment of collective apprehension. Danny's insides twisted. He recognized the voice of his childhood friend, Sam, who had always been the voice of reason. The weight of that question hung in the air, thick as fog, clouding the hopeful atmosphere. What if we don't succeed? Sam's face was shadowed by doubt, yet his eyes locked onto Danny's with a mixture of urgency and concern. Danny took a deep breath, feeling his heart pound like a drum in his chest. "But what if we do?" he challenged, forcing a smile, hoping to ignite the flicker of hope he felt inside. What if this is the moment we turn things around? We're fighting for more than just bricks and mortar. We're fighting for our community. An elderly man stepped forward, his knotted hands shaking slightly. It's not the first time we've tried, he said, his voice wavering. There have been plans before. Promises made and broken. How do we trust again? Danny's spirit flickered. Trust wasn't just a word. It was the foundation they were seeking. I understand, he replied, keeping his tone steady. But this time feels different. We're all here. We're willing to work, to collaborate, to truly listen to each other. That's what matters. The reporter's pen danced across her notepad, caught in the tension between fear and courage. She turned to the developer again. It seems there's a real spirit of unity here. Are you willing to explore this committee idea further? Can you consider collaborating to create something that reflects both the future and the heart of this community? His brows knitted tightly. The developer glanced around, grasping for understanding. I need to consider it. His voice was hesitant, revealing the cracks in his confident facade. Let us put it into writing, shouted a voice from the back. Let us make it official. That way they can't just walk away. Danny felt a rush of adrenaline. Yes, we can draft a letter right now. We need to show that we're serious. A wave of murmurs surged through the crowd, growing louder, lifting the energy. It felt as if they were all riding a wave together. And for a fleeting moment, Danny envisioned the outcome. A united front, an agreement that everyone could rally around. But doubt couldn't help but linger. Sam's question echoed in his mind. The weight of potential failure loomed, casting a shadow over the hopeful hues surrounding them. They didn't know the obstacles that lay ahead, or how resistant the developer's team might turn out to be. Mrs. Henderson stepped forward, her voice a soothing balm. Let us take this step by step. We're stronger together, aren't we? Let us write down what we stand for, not just for ourselves, but for our children and their children. Danny nodded. Exactly. We're not asking for everything, just respect for our roots, our history. Hope surged once more, connecting them like an invisible thread woven through their shared past. Someone began to lead the crowd in a chant of together. The sound resonated, echoing off the buildings, growing louder, drowning out the looming despair. Danny felt his heart swell with gratitude and hope as he looked around at the faces of friends, family, and neighbors united for a common cause. But just as the energy peaked, a sharp voice pierced through the cheers. That's all fine and dandy, but what are you really willing to sacrifice for this? Dreams don't build themselves. Danny froze, his blood running cold at the challenge. Suddenly, the air ignited with tension once again, making him question whether hope was enough. With the crowd's energy shifting, whispers of doubt started creeping in. Had they really thought this through? Would their dreams withstand the test of reality? As doubt clawed at his heart, Danny felt the question come barreling in, demanding an answer. Would everyone's commitment to this vision withstand the inevitable sacrifices? The answer hung in the balance, drawing him closer to a crossroads. What choice would define their fight moving forward? Would they crumble, or dare to forge ahead? Danny's heart raced as tension gripped the crowd, simmering just below the surface. He glanced around, taking in the faces of those whose lives intertwined with his. It was a mix of determination and anxiety, a fragile thread holding them together. He took a deep breath to steady himself. He needed to bring that unity back. Listen, he shouted, raising his hands to quiet the murmurs. This isn't just about what we're willing to sacrifice. It's about what we stand to gain. We want a future our children can thrive in, not one where memories get paved over with concrete. The crowd fell silent, hanging on his every word. Their eyes were wide. Hope flickered still, but it needed nurturing. I know change is scary, Danny continued, his voice steadier now. But we can write our story. Look around you. Each voice here echoes the heartbeat of our community. We cannot let fear dictate our path. The developer stared, arms crossed and jaw set tight. But even he couldn't ignore the palpable energy rising within the crowd. Community isn't built overnight. It's built day by day through little moments and shared history. We need to embrace that spirit of resilience. A ripple of agreement surged through the crowd, rekindling the fire within them. Names from the past were called out. Cherished memories of playgrounds and block parties danced in the air. They were not just individuals. They were a tapestry of lives, woven together through time and space. Who's willing to fight for that? Danny called out, his heart pounding as he scanned the crowd. Silence held its breath, eyes twinkling with unspoken determination. Let us show him what this community is capable of. Together, they roared back, voices stronger, clearer, echoing their thoughts into the ether. It was a powerful reminder that their strength lay not just in words, but in their shared memories, long afternoons spent playing in the park or late-night barbecues that stretched into laughter-laden evenings. The developer's expression shifted, uncertainty flashing across his face as he took in the heartbeat of their unity. Maybe we can set some terms to this conversation, he said, his voice a bit less assured. What exactly do you want? The energy shifted again, and Danny felt the collective presence of hope behind him. We don't want to bulldoze progress, Danny urged. We want it to be inclusive, community center, spaces for our youth, park. If you're truly here for our town, you'll listen. The crowd erupted in cheers once more, as if collectively exhaling the doubts that lingered before. Danny scanned their faces, sensing their fears morphing into something more formidable, a resolve to reclaim their narrative. The developer sighed, the weight of reality pressing upon him. This will take time. It's not as straightforward as you'd like it to be. Time is what we have, Danny replied, his voice steady and solid, echoing like a promise. We've lived here all our lives. We're not afraid of a challenge. We'll fight together. It's worth every moment. Just then, Emily stepped forward, her small stature standing tall amidst the chaos. The crowd quieted, all eyes on her. We believe in our dreams. We want to play outside and have friends over. Can you help us make this happen? The developer's hard exterior cracked, revealing a glimmer of uncertainty. As hesitant joy rippled through the crowd, he appeared touched in a way he clearly hadn't expected. Danny found new conviction in that moment. Think about what it means to be part of something bigger. Let us work together to create our vision. Together, where everyone thrives. We will show you why this place matters. Slowly, there were nods, murmurs of agreement grew into shouts, each voice adding strength to the proposal. The rallying cry rang through the air, capturing the essence of their community. Together, together, together. It felt like momentum shifting, a sense of purpose weaving through their collective spirit. The developer, weighed down by the commotion, closed his eyes for a brief moment. With the sun shining brightly, illuminating the faces of those who loved their town deeply, he opened his eyes once more, gazing around at the strength and determination reflecting back at him. All right, he said hesitantly, but with a newfound respect. Let us sit down. Let us talk about what this could look like. Cheers erupted, an explosion of relief and excitement. A chorus of voices filled the air as Danny's heart swelled. This was the moment they had fought for, the moment of transformation, not just for their homes, but for their identities. Together, they were changing the narrative. As the sun dipped lower, casting golden rays across the familiar streets they called home, Danny held Emily's hand, his heart racing with hope. This was merely the beginning, and side by side, they would craft a new story, one that intertwined the past with their bright future. As they gathered to sketch out their plan, laughter and chatter filled the space, a distinctly American spirit of resilience and togetherness. They were no longer just a group of fearful souls. They were neighbors, friends, and a family forming a brighter path ahead. Now, they weren't just fighting for their homes. They were fighting for each other, shaping a legacy that would inspire generations to come. As the crowd dispersed into the twilight, Danny felt an air of peace settle over the community and across his heart. They were linking arms in this journey, ready to face whatever lay ahead. But now, dear reader, this is your moment to step up. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss out on more incredible transformations like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach even more fantastic stories. Comment below about your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this inspiring journey. Your support means everything, and only true fans like you understand the power of community. Do it now.